Here we go. Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Global Party 2017, Healing from the Inside Out. And we have the beautiful Sonia Cortis all the way from Melbourne, Australia to join us right now.
Hi. Hi, Jacqueline.
Oh,
hi, everyone else.
And Sonia has a beautiful message. And the message is that your body has a message.
That it does. That it does. It's talking away to us. Yep.
And when, in that whole spirit of things, when I was asking Sonia about the song that she likes, you picked which one, Sonia?
Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. And it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing for me. Just a little bit of a backstory, but I'm a bit of a singer as well. And I used to sing in bands, but I used to do quite a lot of karaoke. And it was one of my karaoke songs because the start of it is very, and if you've ever seen a music video, she's standing on a mountaintop and the helicopter's hovering over and she's singing about holding out for this hero with her arms spread out in this beautiful white outfit. And I thought the music itself for me draws me in, and it's coming out to the boxing ring, this is my tune kind of song. But it's also about the fact that we're holding out for heroes when really we us ourselves are our own hero. We are our own savior, So instead of looking outside of ourselves and thinking, oh, I need that, and that, it's actually what's within me that's going to allow me to grow and be healthy and positive and whatever. So it's got a lot of different meanings for me, that song. Yeah, musically, emotionally, tongue in cheek about the hero part.
It's great. I love your energy. So hold on, and we're just going to let everybody else get a feel for the song here just a sec.
Oh, here we go.
I can see you there. That would have been like, you probably did that in karaoke more than times than you'd like to admit.
Yeah, and the big hand moves. The hand moves. It's all about the hand moves. Drawing it in.
Did you always have this beautiful sense of humor?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, from a very little age. Yes. From the moment I was at school, I've been told that, yes, I like to make people laugh.
So, is that part of the message that your body has, that it is about bringing joy and laughter to yourself?
Yes, it is. It's interesting you should ask that question, because it's even been something that I've been learning a lot lately in terms of my own building a business, is that actually everything is more likely to be manifested in a positive way if you reconnect all the time with your joy and your happiness. Find things that make you laugh, do things that are just silly and playful. And I think we take life way too seriously, and we've forgotten how to just be in what is our true essence, which is one of the highest vibe emotions. That's joy. I mean, joy's up there above love. It's love, joy, enlightenment. I think from memory, it's around that same space. So yeah. And anyone, I guess, what's interesting, I think if anyone actually thinks about how they feel when they're in their joyful space, you feel it in your body.
Oh yeah.
You feel it in your heart, and you get goosebumps and the laughter, and you just feel so much more expanded and open and excited by life.
Yeah, I've found that I've spent a lot of my time being happy, or more even happy on the outside. But joy is like this, you just wake up in the morning just like your heart beats, and it just bubbles up just like the bubbles in a fish tank. It's just there, and It's actually, I don't know, one of the people we were talking with, earlier, beloved, she was saying how she has so much, she has bubbles, you know, those blow bubbles? She keeps them in her car. And she blows them at the sunroof when she's in like traffic jams or something, just to make people feel better.
Yeah, that is a brilliant idea. And it's almost about thinking when you go out somewhere. And I did this actually just yesterday. I thought, how can I bring more joy into someone's life? You know, just, and it even could just be at the supermarket, just having a laugh with the person who's serving you, or laughing at yourself when you do something stupid. You know, not oh, I can't believe you did that, but just like, oh, there I go. But it's easier said than done a lot of the time, isn't it? Because we are stuck in our whatever we might be going through, physical pain, emotional distress, physical distress, emotional stress, whatever it is, we get stuck in that we do struggle to get into that place of what is joy. But I always say, do something that you would do if you were a child. Do something that you would actually, you know, and even I do something, I skip.
Me
I just
too.
go, for no reason to skip.
My youngest, who's almost 18, was saying, she's like, so you're going to be 55 in a couple of weeks. She's like, I don't get it, Mom. You skip across the parking lot, and like her boyfriend's father is like 40 or something. You know what I mean? And she's like, and he's old. How is it that you're so young, but you're so much older? But he's, you know, and it's like, yeah, it's a state of being.
State of being. It is 100%. Yes, and we can't. I think just ask yourself that question at the start of the day. What can I do today to be more joyful? Yeah, what can I do today to be more joyful? For me, it's dancing and singing, always, you know, just for no other reason. And in fact, I heard this just yesterday, that the two things that can elevate you, and even if you can't sing, it's just music, putting on something that you love and just connecting with that. Because what that's doing and is sending, it's sending these beautiful messages to your body. Mm-hmm. If you're in a state of imbalance physically through illness or disease, but it's sending a new message to your body of how to be and how to respond to life. And the more it's like entering information on the computer. If you're typing in worry, anxiety, stress, worry, anxiety, stress, and you look at your screen and go, why am I not seeing joy, happiness, and laughter? It's because we're not programming in the right information, are we?
Did you notice on the screen, though, now it says, wow, skipping brilliant? Okay.
Yes, Diane, yes.
But that's an excellent example. What you input, you're going to output.
100%. And we don't see that. So it's interesting, and you know, lines about the topic of my talk, which is about the body has a message. Is it's fascinating when we are sick or we're unwell or we've got you know, an emotional illness or like anxiety or depression, and we, especially the physical body, I think we go, why is my body doing this? Why is my body in this state of illness or disease? And I always say, what's your programming been? What have you been putting in on that keyboard for the last year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years? Has that information that you've been feeding in, even to the most subtle nuances, even to the most, you know, unhappy face icon, you know, it can be so subtle over a period of time. There's no mistake here. There's no accident. You're programming, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't start blaming yourself. But what's your programming been? And I'm sitting here typing on my keyboard, pretending to type on my keyboard, but you know, have you been typing in a lot of joy and, you know, fun and play and acceptance and gratitude and gratefulness? No, I haven't actually. Well, then put your body and say, well, why? Why is this happening to me now? Yeah, because, you go, yep.
No, I was going to say, so you have a client that comes to you and they're like, realize, oh, wow, man, I am really been typing in stress, you know, and they're all noticing the negativity. So you get them to be aware that they're actually creating that, and their body is actually telling them by the way they're feeling that it has a message for you. Is that the idea?
100%, 100%. So what I work in is a process that's based on meta medicine, which is the meta being above medicine. So understanding that there's more to physical symptoms than just what we see physically. There's a whole play of mind, body, spirit, emotions, beliefs, perceptions. As then I can sit with a person, literally based on the type of illness they've got, which tissues it's prevalent in, how long they've had it, and I link the timeline of symptoms with the events in their lives, and I say, okay, based on this particular type of illness and disease, do you know that theme for that issue is, does this resonate with you? And I don't tell them, but I say, oh, did you, at the time that you started getting these symptoms, have an issue with, say, how does it, if I say to you, have you got themes of isolation and abandonment in your life? And they go, and the tears start straight away, because you've dropped in their theme, their theme, and there's no accident between what is the symptom and what is the theme that they've been running through their lives,
right? Based
on their perceptions. And themes are just beliefs, perceptions, emotions, thoughts, ideas, and they're specific. And so, and it's amazing to watch what happens to a person's body when they're in this state of the awareness that my physical body is not separate from my mind anymore. And when they create, all of a sudden, there's not treat the body here and ignore the emotion.
Right.
Let's do both at the same time.
Yeah.
And, simultaneously, let's work on the emotional beliefs, and then also let's work on treating physical symptoms. Makes
perfect sense. Like, treat it as a whole organism, a whole energy unit.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you know what I think the best way to describe it, and I wish I had a doll here, and I'm going to buy a doll one day and I'll do a video on this. Break the head off a doll and say, right. I know, it sounds terribly traumatic, but seriously, this is what we do. We have the body and we have the head and the mind and the emotions, and we literally chuck the head to one side and go, right, let's look at this body. And I'm going, hang on a minute, this body is nothing without the head that contains the brain, that contains the brainstem, which is accessing the nervous system, which is you see what I'm saying? But we do, we rip the head off and we look at the physical body, it's this isolated entity, and go, stick some stuff in it and go, why are you not getting any better? Well, because that poor little head, it's the emotions, everything else. And of course you've got the spiritual as well, which is your level of joy, your level of connection to spirit, your community. How are you in the world? How do you perceive yourself in the greater scheme of the world? How connected am I to others? All of that. We're like, that's not important. Just got to focus on the body. Let's just focus on the body.
Well, would you say that do you see a trend that is going quickly or just gradually, that people are starting to recognize that the body, the mind, it's all one unit?
It depends what generation of people you're talking to. If you're talking to the lovely baby boomers, then no, they are very much in that treat the symptoms through allopathic medicine. My generation, which is, Gen Xers and Gen Ys, are very much way more than ever now going, there's a little bit more to this. We're starting to understand and see. And I think it's because we're looking at our parents' generation and going, because I'm 42, and going, you guys are not very well. You're very sick people, and you're very, but then that's feeding into us, my generation. We're dying of cancers and stuff. We're trillions of dollars into cancer research, but we're still dying of cancer.
That one for me is like, I could have told you like 20 years ago, like the whole idea that you're putting money into cancer research. It's like, what are you putting? It's like in the keyboard. What are you putting? Yeah. We're researching.
Yeah.
We're not curing. We're not healing. We're not, we're just researching.
And actually, that's the big part of the work I do is we never use in my field, which is energy psychology, such as EFT, matrix reimprinting, biocompass, meta medicine. We would never talk about cures. We never say to a person, I can cure you, because cures are something that are outside of you. It's like you're going to get this magic pill that you take and then that does the job. That's not what it's healing.
Yes.
And as this is called healing from the inside out, it's about this physical issue that's been created within me is within me to heal as well. And yes, you need help from practitioners and support networks, but ultimately, even having the belief in yourself that you can change your physical state of being is a success once you know the link. Once you know the link, and all of a sudden you'll have all these different messages being typed into the keyboard. Yeah, someone's learned a whole new frame of a whole new vocabulary, And the thing is,
go ahead.
Well, the interesting thing I'm noticing is a dichotomy here, because on one hand, what that does is it scares people to think that potentially my doctor can't help me here. Nothing wrong with the medical profession in that comment. It's just potentially my doctor doesn't have the answer, and then that fear that so you're saying it's my responsibility to do something about this, and people are scared of that, so they'll just keep handing over their power and not give me the pill, just give me the pill. Well, how about if I take you on a 6-month, 1-year journey of healing? Would that be, we can't guarantee results, but healing is different to curing.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, I'll just add one little thing extra to this. Dr. Lisa Rankin, in her book Mind Over Medicines, talks about the example of her dad who died of cancer. Now, he went through a massive energy, emotional healing, and he said to her, I'm healed. He still died a few months later, because it's like, I'm healed. I know it's caused this. I'm passing on now in a place of peace and acceptance of what is happening to me.
Yep.
Not fighting it anymore. So...
No, I had that same sort of situation with my mom. They couldn't figure out what, was the ongoing issue. And in the period of time that she was sort of in the hospital where she caught something, whatever, is like I would say, she had her spiritual healing. So she had she was in that space of being on her own for about 6 months. So she could work through her whole life. And we had the best conversations before, she passed away. And it was like, I would say she was healed, but it was her time to pass on.
Yes. And Matt Kahn, he's an intuitive, he channels, we've talked about him, haven't we? He talks about, we're already coming into this world of spiritual beings. We're already evolved. We come into our bodies to have a physical experience, and then our bodies will go through things such as illnesses and diseases, and we get angry at our body. But what we're not doing is allowing our body to go through what it needs to go through and honor it. And, as soon as we get an illness or disease, it's like, I'm going to fight this. And I'm going, don't mean to burst your bubble, but you're already fighting. Your body's already under a state of stress, and the war on cancer and the war on illness and disease. We don't need any more wars.
We need peace.
We need peace and acceptance. And Dr. Kim Dioramo, who was she's the head of the Mind Body Medicine Institute in the United States. And she says one of the first things she started doing with patients, because she noticed they weren't getting better, was what is. Just accept it. Okay, I've got this illness now. I'm going to accept where I am at right now and stop fighting. And because people go, why am I not getting better? Well, you're just attached to the outcome. How about we just come internally into ourselves and go, well, look at your state of well-being just in the fact how you're trying to address this illness. You're trying to fight it with this energy of resistance and force and push, when really, it's. And what if we started saying to our body, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having so long adapted to whatever I've been giving you and getting me through all the stresses I've got to, so that now, because this is the other thing people don't understand about a lot of illnesses, so many illnesses we experience, especially ones of the digestive system, symptoms are not digestive system, eczemas and that, the body's in a healing phase. Symptoms are the body restoring and rejuvenating after an ongoing stress or adaptation. So you look at your symptoms and go, right, something's happening here. My body is trying to release something. And yet we go, this is a really bad thing. And it's like, well, actually, no, it's not. It's a message. It's a message. and we don't
Your body
listen.
has a message. Yes, it does.
Yeah. And it's really fun when you work with Biocompass because you know the themes and you don't tell the client and you wait and you ask the questions. And then as soon as you ask them a specific question around the symptoms they've got, and actually the best thing to do is give an example. This is an interesting one. So for anyone who's got a weight issue where they cannot lose weight and they go through a cycle of, we know that we've got to start looking at the kidney collecting tubules in the back of the body, because if their weight's puffy, there's something with the kidney collecting tubules and it's not releasing fluid out of the body. Now, the theme for kidneys, the collecting tubules, is isolation and abandonment.
Okay.
And isn't it interesting, if someone's feeling isolated and abandoned at some stage in their life, what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to create protection, and that is what weight is.
Yeah.
It is protection. And so once someone suddenly heals the significant life event that created the isolation and abandonment theme, I feel isolated, I feel left out, I'm not part of anything, and they heal that in their memories and their mind, the kidneys go, oh, okay, I don't need to keep creating this extra fluid in the body to protect this person anymore.
Right.
I can start to release. And what happens, the client, without even doing any other major, anything else, their kidneys kick in and all of a sudden they're peeing every bloody hour and kidneys go into work to do the work. And all of a sudden, like when I've seen it, clients, their puffiness starts to go.
Right.
Their bloatedness starts to go. They start to lose weight because they're no longer in this protection mode, because they're no longer running the theme of isolation and abandonment.
Right.
So that's how specific it is.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And that's the message. What part of the body, what's that particular organ supposed to do? What's it telling us? Now let's heal it for you.
Well, it sounds so straightforward. What is the biggest objection you get?
It's just lack of belief. It is, and lack of education around the mind-body connection.
Okay.
That we've been, the medical model for so long has just been about symptomatic. And yet Einstein knew we were all energy. He knew all this, but he couldn't prove it. And so we've had to go down the Darwin allopathic, Newtonian scientific model, because we could prove it at the time, and it still works. Like acute medicine, my goodness gracious me, where would we be without the stuff that they can do, and even some interventions of the allopathic nature do help to bring some homeostasis. But it's just lack of education. We've got to undo over 100 years of scientific thinking. And so it is. It's just a lack of understanding. And for some people, it's just a fear. Because you have to take responsibility for your life and the theme you've been running, and you've got to stop playing victim, and you've got to stop blaming your mum and your dad and your family and your friends. You've got to take responsibility, and for many people that's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah, I would think that's the personal responsibility. I think is the biggest one. I remember doing a parent show. Like 2 decades ago, and I was talking about vaccine risks, and people would walk by in a trade show, and I'd say, "Hey, do you want to know about the risks of vaccines?" And 80% of them were like, they would stop in their tracks, and they would either be, the answer was, "Oh, my doctor's already explained," or "There's risks. I don't want to know about them."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, yeah, that summed it up right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's what we call cognitive dissonance. It's you are going to give me some information that completely destroys my belief system, that completely tells me that everything I've thought and believed for such a long period of time is no longer true. And that's scary, because that means we now we make it mean something. Like we make it mean that I'm not safe. And that for people is, and we don't, please, doctors, their job is because they want us to be better and they want us to be healthy. I think we've just been so now led down the path of a pill for every ill. I think that's the path we've been led down, and yet and I say this to people, there is no pill made by man intelligent enough to do the job that your body doesn't already know how to. You're trying to say that you could take a medicine and it's that intelligent that it can solve all the problems.
Right.
Definitely it has a place. And I'm massive on integration, massive. We all are in Meta Health. We are, you know, in particular Biocompass, we are all about, we need the medical profession, but we also need to look holistically and integrated in our approaches to healing.
Yeah, it's a balance. There's a part for
always,
right?
Absolutely.
I had a friend of mine who was just at a doctor, and the doctor was saying, "Hey, you're not taking your anxiety medication anymore. Like, don't you need to get a refill?" And he's like, "No, I met this person that showed me how to, you know, deal with energy." And he's like, "Really? You know?" And he said, "That's a good thing. That's like you're having like brain therapy." and he's like, and he came out of there. He's like, something happened to the doctor, because the doctor went from, you know, wanting to know why he's not on prescriptions to, wow, you're doing something that's working. So kudos, doing it, right?
That's awesome. And that's what I love. I love hearing that. I love hearing that, and more doctors are coming on board, because at the end of the day, their motivation is to help, and their intention is to bring healing. And so, of course, they want their patients to get better. Really, I would like to think that the majority of doctors, that is actually, if you peel it back, that's the why they became doctors in the first place, is because they really want people to be well. Yeah, you know, but when you're getting offered huge incentives to prescribe certain medications, it takes away from your, you know, the real intention here, and it's, you know, it's that, I find that upsetting. I really do.
Well, that's part of my big mission, is to bring balance back, and the pharmaceutical industry to just lose their power over, right? Because it doctors have a place, pharmaceutical drugs have a place, but it has to be brought back into the scheme of what it's in balance with alternatives and holistics.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting. What's that?
I said I've served them their notice. It's in the universe. They've all heard. It's all done. The time is over, and it's starting to.
Right. Well, I'm going to do the same then. I'm going to set some really powerful intentions for that. And I get so excited when someone tells me, like a client, "Oh my God, I'm not taking my anti-anxiety anymore. I'm not taking my depression pills anymore." I see this because this is what's possible. This is what's possible. And, you know, because the other factor that comes in for a lot of people is I can't afford. And it's always, well, what is it costing you emotionally, spiritually, financially to be on this medication? You know, yes, you say you can't afford, but can you afford to be sick for the rest of your life and not work and be affected by, you know, so you got to look at the bigger picture, you know. And I think the other thing where we've got really stuck, and it's again just lack of education, is when people get a diagnosis and they're told there's nothing we can do, they take that belief on, and that becomes their story.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not true.
Well, you know what? This is my thing. Is I feel that there's a lawyer, okay? So whether it's in Australia or where, there's a lawyer that knows that the Hippocratic oath is thou shalt do no harm. And a lot of these drugs that are being prescribed are definitely doing harm.
They are.
And somebody's going to come along and be able to stand in that and say, you know what, legally, you're going against your legal responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And things, you know, there's a lot of things that are going to come to play in the next 5 years, and it's going to be fun to watch.
It is. And Dr. Bruce Lipton, brilliantly, and I went and saw him talk a few years ago in the UK, and his opening line was the number one, the American Journal of Medicine or something, I can't remember who it was, but he said they came back with a descriptor that the third known cause of death in the United States was misappropriation for medicinal use. And then they were like, we're not happy with this research. We want you to go back and do it again. And they went back and did it again, and they found that the number one cause of death in the United States of America is misappropriation of medicines. So, you know, it's the overdose of it's surgeries that go wrong due to, you know, medicines. It's just so worrying. And then you think, well, these are legal.
Yeah.
These are legal.
Yeah. Well, the American medical system, right, when we really put it in the scope of the world medical system, really is very low on the totem pole, right?
It is, yeah.
I mean, there's just their idea that in Australia you have socialized healthcare too, don't you?
Yep, yep.
And in most of the European countries, it's there, and Canada is there, but the States has been lacking in so many ways, and it's all shifting. It's all really good.
It's shifting. And you know, you asked that question before about, do you think it's slowly? And I said it depends on who you're talking to in terms of the generations. But what I am seeing, and even just for conversations around spirituality, energy, that's the part I love, is we now have the research to prove that quantum physics is the real deal, and it is quantum occurring now. It is quantum occurring. You know, if 2 years ago, because I'm actually living in New Zealand, in Christchurch, we had massive earthquakes. And I've only just moved back because I waited. Because I thought if I went back 7 years ago and went, I could tell you all how to deal with trauma, but it's going to, you know, what you're going to tell me to tap on parts of my body. But now everyone's going, I'm open to this. I want to hear. People are ready, because it's, you know, that tipping point, the tipping point of people are looking around and going, man, you're on a lot of medication and you're not very healthy. What's going on? This is not living, and that's the tipping point is happening. And that lawyer is going to make it go really quickly.
It is. I just think it's a fabulous, exciting time that all this information, it's not only that it's out there and that people are researching it and coming to say, oh, you know, like I've discovered. It's that people are opening up to the truth inside themselves, and they're becoming aware. So as you say, like you're 13 years younger than me, you're more aware for the most part of most people than that were my age. Not, of course, when I was 42, but no, it's a shift. Like my kids that are 18 and 22, they don't know pharmaceutical medication. Like they don't know
exactly
what it's like to go to a doctor, really. You know, they've had a couple visits here and there, but they haven't even grown alternative complementary medicine. So it's like there's a huge evolution happening.
Massive. It's exciting. It is really exciting. And this is what led me to this journey in the first place, was just an intuitive sense. And I remember being 13 and going to school, and they did the rubella, German measles vaccination process. And I just went, I don't need this. I don't need this vaccination. Something just in me. And, you know, I'm the same. I remember going to a doctor, and I had sinusitis.
Yep.
And she said, take this pill. That's all she did. And I went away and I Googled natural remedies, put my head over a bowl of eucalyptus oil, go figure. Went back 4 days later and she goes, how are you going? I said, fantastic. I said, I feel amazing. And she goes, I knew that medication would work. And I went, no, I didn't take the medication. And she just looked at me. And what she said next just blew me away. She goes, I wouldn't normally recommend medication to people for something like that. And I said, but you didn't offer me an alternative.
Right.
I said, I had to go and find the alternative myself.
Yeah.
So, and natural remedy, so many of what we're experiencing can be just healed in go to bed and sleep for 3 days if you've got the flu.
Yeah.
The flu is the body detoxing and going through a healing.
Yes.
It's so wrong to get the flu, or we can't have you getting the flu. And understandably, the elderly can suffer, and it can cause death. The majority of people are not going to die from the flu.
No, but if they read the contraindications on a flu vaccine, they could have some serious complications.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
This is so exciting. Yeah. We could just continually have conversations on this one, because the body has a message. So basically the body is your barometer. And if it isn't in that joy, skipping across the parking lot like Sonia and dancing and singing karaoke and making those hand, motions, then there's an issue.
There is an issue. Yeah. One other thing I want to add, which is another reason that I'm so passionate about what I do, is how we accept that ill health and pain in our bodies is normal, and we just push through and push through, and we think, oh, I've got this back issue, oh, I've got this pain, and we push through and we medicate and we just deal with the symptoms. That's not normal. You're not meant to feel like that. You're meant to be rocking and rolling. Life's going to throw shit at you, excuse my French. Life's going to throw stuff at you. You're going to deal with it when you need to deal with it. Yet we live in this constant state of, and we almost have normalized ill health. We normalize it. And when you talk to someone who's sick, how are you feeling? Oh, I've got a cold coming on. I don't even talk about a cold if it's coming on. I just go, I feel great. And then often not, that cold goes. Quantum.
I remember a story with Wayne Dyer, and he was saying how he got picked up one time by the lady was the chauffeur, and she said to him, she had a cold, and she said, listen, I don't want to hear anything you have to say. I'll just drive you where you need to drive. And he goes, well, we probably believe the same thing. And she goes, I don't think so. She goes, I get a cold every winter, and I got my cold now, so just let me have my cold. And he goes, yeah, we do believe the same thing. And she goes, how is that? And he goes, I don't believe that I'll never get a cold, and I haven't got a cold. You believe you get one every winter, and you got one.
I love that. That's exactly what it is, isn't it? And I'm the same. I go years without a cold, years. And then I got the flu this year really bad, but I turned it around in 3 days. And other people I know had the same kind of flu for two weeks, and I had it for 3 days. Bedridden for a day, slept through it, allowed myself to go to that space, did all the right things nutritionally, natural remedies, garlic, And then by the Saturday afternoon, after being in bed all day Friday, I was up and about again.
Yeah.
So it's just this.
Well, it's like Christchurch and having the earthquake, right? So there's an earthquake. The earth is saying, hey, we got to release something. We got to shake things up. So your body sometimes just needs to chill and go. And if 3 days in bed is what it needs to do that versus spending a year recovering from something else.
100% agree. It's exactly the way it is, but we don't think like that, do we? We just want to keep pushing through, and that society's created that. If you look at the ads for medications, you got this, take this. You've got this, take this. I mean, I'm just blown away by the adverts in American television. You got this, take this. It's going, how about you just go to bed and rest for a few days? Just be okay with it. Sick leave was invented for a reason.
So it is very hilarious when you see the commercials and they go, and you can take this, and this could be the blah, 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 blah.
Read the fine print. Have you seen those ads? They've got all this, the stuff at the bottom of the screen, and could cause this, and this side effect. And I'm going, they're not side effects. The effect of taking that drug is.
Actually, there is a new, I don't know if it's just in Canada or the state, wherever it is, but it's a nutritional, like a nutraceutical, and they've done it. They've done the commercial. I saw it online, and it's like a U.S. pharmaceutical ad, and they're like, so nature will have these consequences. It will make you feel good. It will make you connect, right? But it's all about the positives of.
I've seen that online.
Yeah.
I've seen that online, and you think it's a pharmaceutical ad, but it's actually this. Yeah. You could expect to feel really good, and you might have experiences of happiness, and it's read the fine print,
It's good. Well, we have another one later on. I don't know if it's next one or the next one. Pain's wake up call, because that was the same idea. Is pain is wake up call. Body has a message. And we're all moving forward. So I am so very, very grateful that you took the time to share with us here. And I would love to do more of this. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for what you're doing, for spreading this message for people. It's more of it, please. Everyone who's watching or ever tunes in and watches this at a later time, please, more. Have faith, have hope. Everything is possible. Anything is possible.
Absolutely. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you so much. Love you soon. We'll chat to you soon.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.